Pancreatic cancer, unfortunately, is commonly detected at a point where it's at advanced stages. So there is no population-wide screening tool to be able to try to catch this disease early on or at pre-malignant stages where it might be treatable and curable. So upwards of 80–85% of patients are actually diagnosed at a point where it's either no longer operable or has spread or metastasized to other parts of the body. So the mainstay of treatment for advanced pancreatic cancer remains chemotherapy. And our newer chemotherapy regimens actually can extend survival quite significantly, such that patients may live oftentimes a year or, in the best case scenario, even multiple years. Obviously, we're trying to move beyond standard chemotherapy agents and are exploring newer approaches, targeted therapies, immunotherapies, and we're doing a number of research studies in these arenas to see if we can either supplement or, in some cases, replace chemotherapy. And so what we're trying to do also is get beyond a one-size-fits-all approach, meaning that if we can better characterize a given individual's pancreatic cancer and do genetic and molecular testing, that may give us some hints in terms of possibly some newer approaches that we can take beyond just chemotherapy. I still have some optimism that he may do well. I appreciate that he's strong of will and mind to beat this. What it means to beat pancreatic cancer in terms of, is he likely to be cured? The likelihood of that is, I think he recognizes, is quite small. But if he can live for a very prolonged period of time with the cancer at bay, kept in check with perhaps a combination of chemotherapy and other experimental therapies that he might be able to avail himself of, I would say there's still reason for optimism. I'm always a big believer in terms of strength of spirit and strong social support and all of those aspects in addition to the actual treatment itself. And I think maintaining an optimistic outlook is actually very important as someone goes through what can be pretty difficult treatment. The chemotherapy undoubtedly has a number of side effects that can take its toll on a person's body, although I always encourage patients in the midst of their treatment to continue remaining as active as possible and socially engaged and continue to exercise and travel and interact with friends and family as much as possible. So I think it's that balance between maintaining optimism and expecting the very best, but at the same time being realistic in terms of saying that, okay, we know that at least as of 2019, we're not routinely curing people with stage 4 pancreatic cancer. So how do we make the best out of what may be a finite amount of time to maintain a person's quality of life while trying to keep their cancer in bay and extend their life for as long as possible? And that's kind of the conversation that I have with any of my patients who have pancreatic cancer in terms of helping them understand what their goals of care are, what they can realistically expect, but always trying to maintain a very hopeful outlook.